Good evening and welcome to today's video, and we are looking at the current radar image for the nation at the moment, and we have still a few storms over the northeast of Queensland. So rain across Victoria and parts of New South Wales, some over the east of Tasmania, few bits around the Northern Territory, and the same as the Kimberley, and a few bits over in the more western areas of WA over here. So fair bit going on. Now for the Queensland stuff, this will gradually move northeast and contract off the coast. Now we may see a few bits around some of the areas tomorrow, but for the most part all storm activity is slowly but surely moving to the northeast, which I'll go through in the forecast part of it. So let's just have a quick look at some of this. So we've got some decent storms. Let's turn off the lightning for now. So a few nice storms located around the place. Nothing too dramatic, but there could be some heavy rain amongst some of them, especially over up north inland and places like that. Victoria has a few dotted around storms and stuff, but mostly just showers as the front goes through. So the cold front should clear off the east of Victoria tomorrow. And we've got a few storms lingering about the northeast of Tasmania, and elsewhere there's just showers with the odd rumble of thunder here and there, but nothing too dramatic. Elsewhere is pretty much dry and rain free. So let's start getting into the forecast part. So we're going to start here with the accumulated rainfall. Now I've looked, as I shown last night or this morning, I posted on Facebook the multi-model mean, which basically is all the models average all together, and it was pretty similar to what the map we're looking at now. So most of the models are aligned for the rainfall that's expected over the next week. So we have the tropics are going to remain quite alive, with the majority of the rainfall to be around this area. So the eastern top end and the Cape York Peninsula will be quite stormy. Now the western top end will be a little quieter, but we should still see a few storms as the week progresses, although we will see a bit of a lull in storm activity middle of the week, but I will show that shortly. Now, as far as what's expected to happen in the medium term, drawing random lines now, there's no monsoon trough. So for the north, there's no monsoon expected anytime soon. We're going out until about the middle of the month now with outlooks, and so far there's no sign of it at all, and that's mostly because the MGO is in the wrong place. Now, as far as the monsoon is concerned, it's probably most likely it will be late. Why I say that is because of the sudden stratospheric warming event, and when there have been those SSW events, the monsoon has been late. Example being last year, it was actually the latest on record. Although Darwin did see the monsoon a couple of times, once in December and once in January, but criteria for onset is monsoonal conditions need to be observed at Darwin for 2 days at least. And that didn't happen until in February. I forget the exact date now, but yeah, that didn't happen until February. Now, I don't think with the weak La Nina and the current negative IOD, I don't think it will be quite as late as last year, but I'm not expecting it to be early. It may be on time. We'll just have to see what happens with modelling, because it does suddenly just appear out of the blue. So we'll just keep track of that and our update as we need to. Now, far north Queensland should see a bit of a decent rainfall spike up in the usual areas around Tully and Babinda. So with about 100 mil over the next week expected. And another hot spot is down further south across parts of Victoria and the western side of Tasmania due to fronts that are expected to come by in the next week. So that's the rainfall. Okay, so we're looking to the temperature now. So here's tomorrow morning, so Monday morning, and we're looking at quite cold temperatures across the south here, over Tasmania, Adelaide. Elsewhere should be close to average for the mornings at this time of year. Just go to around 3:30, which is typically the hottest time of day. Now down in the southeast around Victoria, even into Adelaide and Tasmania, temperatures are expected to be below average, as they have been over at least the last month or so. This is only going to be a temporary thing as we head into summer, before it does warm up a little bit, but still below average. So we'll just keep going into Tuesday morning, and once again we will see those cooler temperatures. Some of those temperatures will extend into inland northeast New South Wales, where we'll see some quite cold temperatures on the ranges there, and a lot of inland New South Wales and across South Australia be cold, but elsewhere should be again relatively close to average for Tuesday morning. As far as Tuesday during the day is concerned, we have a little bit of a warm up across the southeast, even in Tasmania to an extent, and the heat continues over the northwest over here, but elsewhere it's beginning to warm up ever so slightly. And we'll just move into Wednesday morning, and those temperatures have warmed once again for the morning temperatures, getting up more close to what you'd expect for this time of year, in the morning at least. And then by the afternoon we should see a lot better temperatures across most of the southeast, bringing them more in line with what we would expect at this time of year. However, that is going to be short-lived, the heat. Thursday is expected to be around 32 in Melbourne, but then it's going to drop back down to around 22, which is slightly cooler than average for this time of year. So we're still going to see cooler temperatures down in the southeast as we head into the first few days of summer, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to get too hot too quickly for you guys down there. Now we're just going to move into the thunderstorm outlook here, and the coming few days is expected to see those thunderstorm activity push further north. Now currently we have a trough that is approximately, can't see that colour, go blue, approximately around here, and that is slowly moving this way and up that way. So at the moment we're seeing most of the thunderstorm activity along that trough, and that will slowly push north and northeast over the next few days, as we will see as I just move thunderstorm outlook a little further along. So as you can see, now that trough line is approximately up here, and it's moving further offshore. Even across the north top end, thunderstorm activity is expected to become more coastal as we move forward. Now I will just go into Wednesday, and as we can see, that activity has pretty much left most of the mainland except for Cape York Peninsula. So that's what that is expected to do in the coming days. Now I'm just going to quickly swap over to the climate driver outlooks. Now first of all, we've got the ENSO, and as you can see, it's crept down towards the La Nina thresholds. These are through Jane's weather. She takes the outlook, the observations from the BOM website, but then puts the outlook from multiple models ahead of time, which you can see the models are color coded up here. So La Nina is expected to last until approximately the end of December, and before it starts, the value starts increasing, and some modelling has pushed it up into the warm, neutral, or even El Nino thresholds by the middle of next year. But we will see how that goes. It doesn't always track. These long-term models aren't always 100% accurate, but the model consensus currently is it's going to raise past the La Nina thresholds around through December, or into early January is when it's expected to end. So it's going to be a very short week, La Nina. Not expected to last too long, so it's really not going to influence weather too much. Now we will just move on to the IOD, and again there's a couple of agencies here that actually monitor IOD. That one is Australia and Japan, and you can see Australia's model in the red and Japan's model in the yellow here. So they're relatively similar in the long term. Japan pushes the value up towards positive through December, but that won't happen. Basically, IOD events cannot form or hold during the wet season, Australian wet season summer period, due to the monsoon trough being in the southern hemisphere by then. So even though that I mentioned earlier that the monsoon is not expected in the Australian region in the next couple of weeks, next couple of weeks, doesn't mean that it won't appear in the southern hemisphere, possibly west of Indonesia. So basically, once the monsoon trough's in the southern hemisphere somewhere, the IOD cannot hold negative or positive. So the most likely outcome is it will just go near neutral, like a real neutral, and just hang around the neutral area for the next few months. Hopefully this transitions over well. Not too bad. Okay, so we have the SAM. I'm just looking at these two because this one is what I've been using the most lately. So you can see the outlook here, and I was just seeing how it matches with here. Not too bad. So at the moment, SAM is in negative, and it is expected to stay negative for at least a couple of weeks, maybe. The neutral area is approximately here. So a couple of weeks time, it's expected to go back into the negative neutral and hold around there. Now, that far into the future, there is a big margin of error, as you can see here. So usually I like to just go a couple of weeks ahead and have a look at what it's doing. As you can see, the margin of error for this particular area is a lot smaller. So in the short term, it's going to remain negative, which is going to cause cold fronts to be closer to Australia, and it will have that drier bias and cooler bias over the coming few weeks. So that is not the best of news, but it is what it is, I guess. So this one from that Jane has here is I think it's more the bomb one. So they have a little less error of margin. They don't have that going up here thing, but basically it's the same kind of thing. It's expected to stay neutral for the next week or so, and then remain in the neutral negative area and potentially going back into negative. So it seems this is why I'm saying that earlier that the IOD and the ENSO are getting negated, because when the SAM is negative or positive, it generally negates and cancels out the ENSO threshold. So even though we are under La Nina, doesn't mean that we're going to get La Nina conditions. Pretty much how it happened when we had the last El Nino. Normally El Nino's dry, but we had a positive SAM. And positive SAMs during summer have a wet bias. So over the southeast Australia particularly, we saw a wetter El Nino than we would normally. So SAM is definitely the driving force. It seems to have a stronger influence than ENSO does, because the El Nino we had that time was actually pretty strong and still didn't overcome SAM. So, but that's all for now, and thank you once again for watching, and have a good day.